1,000 feet beneath Pennsylvania's Appalachian Trail, cavers in an uncharted subterranean system inadvertently opens an expansive chamber containing countless prehistoric bats. Drawn toward loud sounds, the blind bats begin swarming the country and eventually come to be called vesps. In Montclair, we see a girl named Allie who is deaf but has the power to feel everything around her. Some bully students start making fun of her deafness, but she ignores them. Hugh Andrews, a construction manager, explains to his colleagues Max and Glenn that they need to change the whole drain system. Max agrees to this. Hugh and Glenn come outside and Glenn tells him Max is a freak, but Hugh says, "I can't afford to lose this client." Hugh and Glenn are best friends and work together in the same industry. Glenn asks about Allie's admission, and he says no, but I hope it will be NYU. When they are talking, his wife Kelly calls and asks him to bring medicine for her mother. Kelly informs him that some bully boys mocked Allie. Hearing this, he hangs up the phone. Kelly meets her mother and her son Jude. She turns off the video game and asks him to finish the homework. On the way home, Allie meets Rob, who tells her that her parents will be getting her a car next week. Allie says, "My parents won't give me a car," and Rob tells her, "I will leave you in my car." Allie returns home, and when her mother asks why she is late, "I walk with Rob," Allie says. Her mother asks, "Do you kiss Rob?" but Allie tells her that they are just friends. Their dog is barking on something, but when she sees there's nothing. After the whole family has dinner, Allie sees her parents arguing on something and says, "3 years ago, I lost my grandparents and my hearing." Allie comes into her room and Rob sends her a video of bats. Her father comes and asks her about Rob. Allie says he's a good boy and also learns sign language. "You can talk to me about anything," Hugh says, and leaves. Hugh, his wife Kelly, Allie, their younger son Jude, and Kelly's mother Lynn learn about the killer vesps from a television broadcast. Hugh's longtime best friend Glenn joins the family as news breaks about the epidemic causing death and chaos worldwide. Hugh tries to calm her daughter and son, but soon they watch another news which a girl showing the paper, "Don't make noise." Hugh tells his family to put phones on silent. Then they see how mistakenly scientists blasted through an ancient cave and thousands of killer bats break out. Glenn wants to bring some types of equipment to defend themselves, but Hugh stops him from going outside. They leave their house to move out of the city, while the whole city turns into burning sage. Everyone in the metro is sitting quietly in fear. Then a child starts crying and a man starts to take the child out, but his mother stops him. The woman gets down with her baby, but as she goes a little further the baby starts crying again and she runs away, but bats attacks her. On the way, Allie uses her iPad to FaceTime with her crush Rob about the crisis, and Hugh stops his car at the gas station where Allie goes out to pee her dog. The dog barks loudly and a man aims a gun at the dog, telling Allie to shut up the dog. The man asks him for the car keys, but Glenn shoots the man in his leg. Glenn takes his gun and the man begs them not to leave him alone, but they quickly move from there. After seeing the news, Allie tells her family they're calling the creature killer vesps because they fly in swarms. Kelly asks how could we not know about them until now, because they were trapped in a cave for years, Allie says. The family is trapped in the traffic jam, but Glenn tells Hugh he knows another route and they leave from there. On the way, animals come in front of Glenn's car, which causes his car to have an accident. Hugh runs to Glenn and finds that Glenn is badly injured and his foot is stuck in the car. Hugh tries to get him out but fails. Seeing this, Glenn tells Hugh to bring him the gun, and after taking the gun Glenn asks him to leave to save his family. Hugh and the family start to leave, but Allie notices her dog's barking and tells her father to switch off the vehicle. Hearing the dog barking, the killer vesps attack their car and the family panics. Glenn opens fire and hearing the gunshots vesps go towards him and start scratching his body and killing him. Everyone cries, but the dog's still barking and Hugh opens the car's trunk, which causes the dog to run out of the car. After spending time in the car, Hugh goes out to see the creature. The grandmother coughs and the vesps sit on their car trying to break the glass. Hugh quietly picks up the rod and throws it away. Hearing the noise, vesps comes to bite it, but after finding nothing flies away. He gets back in the car and tells his family with hand gestures that the creature cannot see but is only attracted by sound. Allie says, "We know how to live with silence." Hugh overhears and tells them we have to find shelter before it gets dark. Hugh then goes to Glenn's car and sets it on fire, which causes an explosion. All the creatures are attracted to it and he starts walking away with his family. The family hikes in the forest, and along the way Kelly's mother gets tired and Hugh tells them to rest for a while. During the short rest, Jude asks his father to look through his binoculars, and when Hugh looks, he sees a house. The night falls and the family reaches to the house. Hugh tries to open the gate but the bell rings and the vesps arrive there. The elderly owner comes outside to chase away the family with a shotgun, but vesps attack and rip her apart. They see a fence to get in and Hugh tells them, "First I'll go in and point you to the other side." Hugh goes in and crawls slowly to reach the other side. After that he goes inside the house to check everything. After a thorough check of the house, he tells his family to come inside. As they go into the fence, there is a rattlesnake ahead, which the wasps hear and kill, and some of the wasps attack the Kelly. Seeing this, Hugh turns on the harvester machine, the sound of which causes the wasps to enter the machine and get cut. The family rushes into the house and Hugh and the grandmother embalm Kelly, while outside the wasps are eating the old woman's corpse. Allie calls Rob to find out about him. Rob looks like hell and tells her that his parents are dead, and the connection breaks. The next morning, Grandma finds Kelly's wounds have worsened and tells Hugh that she will not recover without antibiotics. Hugh picks up some tools and decides to go out with his daughter. Coming out, Hugh quietly unlocks the door and they both head out into town. On the way, they see thousands of creatures and human corpses lying around. They arrive in the town, which is now deserted, and there is a man in a priest's robe watching them. They go inside the pharmacy where it's dark and corpses are lying around. Hugh rushes to pack up the medicine and Ally sees some corpses with vesps' eggs in them. She gets scared seeing this and hearing her voice. The vesps come there while the man is watching them through the window. Allie tells her father to sound the fire alarm and gives him a mop. Hugh sets the mop on fire and points to the pipe, which sets off the fire alarm. Hearing the alarm, all the creatures are attracted to the sound and they both come out from there. The priest stops them and asks them to join his group, but Hugh doesn't listen. Seeing them go, the priest opens his burned mouth and disappears. After getting home, Ally tells Hugh that vesps can't survive in the cold, which is why the people in Antarctica are still alive. The priest follows them and reaches their house with some people. Hugh goes out and the priest asks him to join, but Hugh writes to him and tells him to get out of here. The priest shows him that the girl Allie is fertile, and seeing to this, Hugh takes out his gun while the priest shows him the word shush and leaves. Rob later texts Allie to say he is traveling north to a sanctuary called the Refuge. Hugh's eyes open to someone's voice at night, but when he looks through the window, he doesn't see anyone. Jude looks through the door and a girl is standing outside who he calls in and encourages her. On the other hand, Ally also notices something at the door of the room. They all see the girl's injuries, which makes Hugh realize that she was sent by the priest and there are many mobile phones tied to the girl. Allie sees the phone on the window which rings and the vesps attack and come inside the house. Hugh quickly takes all the phones off the girl and throws them into the water, making them think the danger is over, but seconds later, phones start ringing from every window in the house. The killer vesps break into the house, which Hugh closes the windows and some of Priest's goons come to abduct Allie. Kelly tries to free Allie but the goons hit her and take Ally outside. The grandmother rushes outside and when Ally bites the man, the grandmother screams to draw the vesps toward her and the kidnappers while Allie escapes. Everyone cries to see the grandmother and the priest arrives to take Ally and motions for Hugh to be quiet and leaves. Hugh and Kelly fight back against the attackers and the priest stabs Hugh. The whole family fights with them and Hugh kills the priest. Hugh, Kelly, Allie, and Jude hike north and after walking for days they finally reach the refuge. Allie reunites with Rob and they begin adapting their survival skills to hunt vesps. In the end, Ally narrates that vesps can't survive in the cold but one day they might be able to survive just as humans adopt silence. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.